Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you a survivor of abuse or other trauma? Are you tired of feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? This is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with more inner peace and joy. Are you ready to eliminate suffering from your life and transform from a survivor to thriver? Then congratulations, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Survivor to Thriver show. Yesterday, I was talking to you about how I shifted my focus from me to helping others. And in the process of helping others, I ended up helping myself. And that is like such a key lesson. This is, in fact, a lesson that I was coming across this teaching again and again and again, everywhere that I looked. Whether it was in the teachings of the various faith traditions that I was exploring and learning from, in how to achieve inner peace, within the field of psychology, if you look in what it has to say about how you can help yourself heal from trauma, you find this teaching. And if you talk to real life people who have been through really difficult things in their lives, and you ask them about what helped them to overcome their challenges and their traumas, this is, you will find that this is a common theme that keeps coming up again and again. That when we help others, we end up helping ourselves. And today I want to, kind of go on another little side tangent around this idea of, because, what this is really about, what it really comes down to is building healthy relationships. It's like when you're helping others, when you get engaged in helping others, it really is about building healthy relationships in your life, and healthy relationships are such a key to our wellness, because we are naturally social creatures. We have not been designed or made or created or evolved to survive alone, and certainly not survive in some kind of a bubble, so we have to, we are very much dependent on the quality of our relationships for the quality of our life, and when we are thinking about relationships and building healthy relationships, it's really important to take a look at who are the models that we have. Who are we looking at, observing, and learning from about how to be and how to have healthy relationships. So today, I want to take some time and talk to you about one of my models, one of the people that I found that deeply impacted my life and has helped me to become who I am today, just by being who she is. And that person is one of my professors from college. I call her Professor Amber. Amber, is her first name, and she actually used to encourage us to just call her Amber. She's like this super cool person, and she didn't like the formalities of, the normal, traditional kind of student-professor relationships that you see. And she really encouraged us to just, be with her, just be like human beings, relate like human beings to each other and to her. And so she was like, hey, I call you by your first name, so you can call me by my first name. But, I was still traditionally Indian enough that I could not do that and be comfortable about it, because in my culture, we are taught that it's like one of the ways that you show respect to your elders, and especially to our teachers, is you never call them by their first names or by their name alone. You always attach a title of respect. And with what we are taught is it's like in the order of who are the most important relationships in our lives, and how much respect they deserve. It's like God, parents, and teachers. And some people will actually modify that to God, teachers, and then parents. So it's like, wow. Because our teachers are just so crucial. They play such a crucial, critical role in our lives and in our growth and our development, that they deserve all the respect and honor and devotion that we have to, and that we are able to give them. It's their right, really, and that's what I was taught, and that's the upbringing with which I grew up. So for me to call Professor Amber just Amber was no, it wasn't going to happen. But at the same time, I wanted to. I was like, I couldn't call her Professor last name because that was like too formal, and so I just like came to this happy compromise in my mind where I was like, Professor Amber. Okay, cool. Professor Amber is my Professor Amber. And to this day, that's how I think of her. She's my Professor Amber. But why do I love her? What did I learn from her? That's really what I want to share with you. So, Professor Amber is like one of these amazing teachers. She's a teacher because she loves to teach, okay? And she is a very unconventional teacher in many ways. There are all kinds of things that she does that turn the traditional paradigms of how you teach and how you learn upside down and inside out. She taught me to apply. One of the most important things that I learned from her in the classroom was how to apply what we were learning in our textbooks to our lives. And do it at such a personal level and and with a depth that I'd never experienced before. And just that, if that was all that I had learned from her, I would have been forever in her debt just for that one learning. But I learned so much more from her. because not only did I get to see her and interact with her and learn with her in the classroom, but she opened herself up outside of the classroom too. So for those of you who are not familiar with the American university and college systems and how things work here, pretty much all professors, teachers are required to designate some time when they're not in the classroom, they're not teaching. They have to create these office hours. They have to designate some time, and this time is to be their office hours. So this is when they're they make themselves available for us as students to be able to go and see them outside of class and talk to them about whatever may be concerning us. And most of the time, the people who show up to office hours will go there to talk to their professor about, oh, I have this question about my homework, or, I have this concern about the grade I got on this exam, things like that. And, certainly before I met Professor Amber, my only experience with going to office hours with other professors was you go to the professor's office, and the professors I went to see, they were in like these small offices. So they had their desk and their chair, and then there was maybe usually one or two other chairs in the room. So like the office couldn't even fit more than like 2-3 people at a time. And people, like, we would go and we would ask our questions or whatever, and it would take like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we would leave. But what happened with Professor Amber is that she would hold her office hours in the cafeteria. And when I went to her office hours, I saw this amazing sight. It's like, I never saw less than like half a dozen students. And usually there were more who would show up to Professor Amber's office hours consistently. Every time she had her office hours, there would be at least half a dozen of us there. And yes, sometimes there would be people who showed up to talk about homework questions or the exam coming up. But most of the time, most of us who were there, we went there to hang out with her and just talk to her about all kinds of life issues, And the amazing thing about Professor Amber, I never had this kind of an experience with a teacher before, was that she didn't just listen to us talk about what we were struggling with or what we were challenged by, but she also opened herself up and shared with us her challenges and her struggles. And the thing was that she did it in a way where she was being so open and so honest and so vulnerable, but she was doing it in a way where she was using that sharing as a way to teach something important, about in the context of what the topic of discussion was. And she was using that sharing as a way to inspire us and to connect with us and to help us connect with her. And for me, that was like, I'd never, seen something like that, like a real life person so close to me being that kind of a model, because I had spent the last so many years of my life, being so scared of letting anyone see my weaknesses, my fears, my insecurities. Like I tried to always, I just kept silent, right? But one of the reasons that I kept silent was because I didn't want anyone to find out what I was scared of and where I felt weak and where I, really needed help and stuff, because I was just so scared that if people saw that about me, that they would take advantage of me, that they would use that to hurt me, right? So I hid behind my silence. I hid behind the walls that I had erected. And I'd been like really scared to allow myself to be vulnerable. And here was this amazing person. Like Professor Amber was someone like who was living with full authenticity, and she was like living her passion, and she was someone who was striving to be her best self and constantly grow and improve herself. And she was happy, and she was like, it wasn't like her life was perfect, and I knew that it wasn't perfect because she shared with us about all kinds of different struggles that she went through. Like one day we happened to be talking about I don't remember how, but the issue came up of the struggle we have with obesity and weight loss and things like that. And she was like really open with us about, hey, I struggle with that too, and so like I knew that like her life wasn't perfect, but the thing was, she showed me that it was okay to not be perfect, and it was okay to let other people see that you're not perfect, and to let other people see where you're struggling and maybe challenged, and that you can use that sharing and that openness and that honesty as a way to teach and inspire others, and to connect in deep, meaningful ways with others. It was such a huge lesson for me. Such a huge lesson for me. That is why, like to this day, I hold Professor Amber close to my heart. And, she's present in my thoughts and in my prayers. And even after I graduated from Santa Monica College and I transferred to UCLA, and actually even after I graduated from UCLA, which was another 3 years later, I still went back and kept in touch with her, and she's still my Professor Amber, and I still love her, and I value and cherish, and I'm so grateful for having her in my life. So for you, think about, who are your models? Who are the people that you are learning from? And you know what? If you are like really struggling with something in your life, it may be that you need to find a model, a new model, somebody who is living and doing things in a different way than you are, and that you have seen being done so far, so that you can learn this other new, better way of doing things from this model, from this person. And before I met Professor Amber, some of the models that I had that inspired me the most, they were characters in books, and when that was the best I could do, to connect with those characters in those books. But I can tell you that when you're able to connect with a real life person, it creates just it just impacts you in a whole different way. And it's just a whole different energy and a whole different level of connectedness and joy, right? So I do the best you can. Like, if you like to find a model, and if that person, you don't know them personally, you cannot connect with them personally right now, that's okay. But I encourage you to find somebody, a real live person in your circles, in your life, and connect with them, and just learn from them through direct interaction with them, and just experience the difference that it makes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and with that thought, just wrap up for today. As always, I want to remind you to connect with me. I love to get your feedback, hear your comments, questions, any clarifications you want. Just connect with me through my website at www.academyofthriving.com. And until I connect with you next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.